everybody, and welcome to Module 5, Lesson 27, I Can Explain Equivalent Fractions. So, equivalent fractions, you're going to hear this a lot throughout your high school career. It's looking at how you can make fractions that are equivalent, which is also the same as equal. So, we are going to move into this. It says, each rectangle represents a whole. So this is a whole, this is a whole, and this is a whole. It says estimate to partition each rectangle into thirds. So we're going to divide each one into thirds. I'm going to pop down here to this one. So how can we double the number of units in the second rectangle? So we have one rectangle here. We're trying to look at how we can keep the rectangle the same size, but get twice as many pieces. So think of this as a candy bar. How, if you had 3 friends, you could do it equally. What if you have 6 friends? How are you going to cut this up so that you have equal or equivalent fractions to give to each of your friends? So, let's see if it does it for me. I would divide it straight down the middle. So before, we were working in thirds because we had divided our rectangle into thirds. This time, we're going to divide it right down the middle. That's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So an equivalent fraction when we're looking at thirds would be 6. Because same shape, we divide it in thirds, we just made it into smaller pieces, which is why our denominator is larger, because we have more pieces to deal with. So, what's our new unit? I got a little ahead of myself. What's our new unit? We went from thirds to sixths. So we are now divided it into sixths, which would be equivalent to thirds. So how can we triple the number of units in the third rectangle? So this time we're looking at, we had 3 friends, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to have 3 times as many friends. So how are we going to go from thirds to 4 more people? So last time we doubled it. This time we're going to triple it. So instead of just doing one line down the middle, I'm going to do 2 sections, so I have 3. So it'll look like this. So we went from thirds. We divided into thirds originally, but now we have way more people. So then now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have ninths, which would also make it equivalent to thirds. So when you're dividing, or when you're trying to find equivalent fractions, you're kind of thinking about dividing a candy bar or a pie or a cake or whatever into something with more people in it. So you're going to keep the same shape, but you're going to divide it equally for more people. Oh, there it is. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, hold on a second. So this one's our thirds, this one's our sixths, and this is our ninths. So what's different about these models? They're the exact size whole, shape the same. Their whole size shape is exactly the same. But we've divided this one into thirds, this one's into sixths, and this one's into ninths. So we've divided it into more pieces. So we started out with thirds, then we doubled it to sixths, and then we went to ninths. So what's different about them? This one's going to give you smaller pieces than this one or this one. This one's going to give you the largest pieces. What is the same about these models? They're the exact same size whole. We've just divided them into smaller pieces. So if I put them all on top of each other, they would be the same. So the whole is equivalent. I think we're going to stop right there, and we're going to jump onto our so draw the shape on your board or paper or whatever you've got. So we have a rectangle here. We've divided it into 1, 2, 3 fourths. So we've divided it into fourths. We want to write the shaded fraction. So our shaded fraction is going to be 1/4 because the whole figure is a whole, and we've only shaded in 1/4 of it. So, and remember, if I go too fast or you need to pause it, feel free. Oops, keep going, nice one. So, how can you make this shape into an equivalent fraction with smaller units? All right, so if we made it into more parts, what would happen? So what I would do is originally, oh, didn't want to do that. Just needed a color. So we want to make it smaller units. So originally our fraction was 1/4 of it is shaded. But how are we going to divide it so that it's smaller units? When you're doing with fractions, you have to do it equally. So I'm actually going to do it right down the middle like this to make it equal. It's not my most equal line ever. Let's see if I can make it. So I went from fourths to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I have 8 pieces. And of those 8 pieces, I have 1, 2 that are shaded. 2/4 or 2/8. So, ooh, I'm gonna do this because it makes it a little more. Let's do that. I started out with 1/4 shaded. I cut it in, I added another row, so I drew a line down the middle. 1/4 is the same as shading in 2/8. Those two are equivalent fractions. It really helps to draw pictures for equivalent fractions so you know what you're looking at. It also helps, I tend to do 2 tape diagrams. Make sure your tape diagrams are as equal as you can when you're doing equivalent fractions. So we're gonna go on and we're gonna do some more practicing with equivalent fractions. But that is the end of the lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the worksheet.